Assalamu alaikum, this is Ismail. Today is Friday, May 2nd, and I just wanted to give you a recap of what is happening in the Trump world. As you know, there is a lot of executive orders that just came fast and furious when Donald Trump took office earlier this year. But things did not go as planned. There is currently plethora of pending and proceeding legal lawsuits against the Trump administration, anywhere from USAID cutting to all the things that DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency, which is not efficient, by Elon Musk is doing, as well as many other things that have to do with immigration, right? That's really Donald Trump's big vulnerability. Because what's happening here now is there are three branches of government that are co-equal and independent, supposedly, that should not be trumping on each other, no pun intended. But Donald Trump, it looks like he's trying to trump on all of them. How is he doing that? As you know, he is the head of the executive branch, right? The president. The president can enforce the law that is on the books according to the understanding and how it was interpreted by the judicial, right? So that really tells you the source of the law is from Congress, right? The Congress writes the law. The courts interpret the law, meaning like this, basically they interpret it, and they say this is what it is. When we say this is what it means, right? And the executive, which is the president, is supposed to just enforce that and basically implement that. That's not what's happening at all. He is the one who's really trying to basically rule by executive orders, which is kind of a way of bypassing the legislator. But now he's also trying to either ignore precedents and very well-established laws like the 14th Amendment, or that shows that says anybody who's born in the United States is an American, right? Who's subject to the jurisdiction of the United States. He's arguing that people who are born to undocumented immigrants don't qualify for that, but that's just beside the point. Now, what he's also doing is now he's going after other well-established, like the First Amendment, the ability to speak. That's why Harvard University and others are suing him, right? Many instances like that. But what I wanted to just talk to you about right now is my predictions on what's happening. Forget about all the law and everything like that. That's all the legal things that's happening. Donald Trump's number one selling point to the U.S. Voters prior to election was that he's going to stabilize inflation. He's going to make basically economy boom, which, you know, the economy was doing relatively well. But I mean, I understand not everybody was benefiting, and I understand there is a lot of inequities and all that into the system. But by and large, the economy was headed to the right direction. Just coming out of pandemics. You say whatever you want about Joe Biden, but he did turn around the economy, and the economy was doing well. But most people just don't read data. So let's delve to it. He was talking about, you know, gas prices and grocery prices and what have you. But instead of actually focusing on those and coming up with ways to keep costs down, which was already in the downtrend anyways, it was going down. You know, remember, we were having a huge inflation after the pandemic because of just a massive rebound. Because remember, we lost everything at some point in terms of GDP. So obviously it has to come back, and if obviously along with it comes shortages, comes uneven growth. But all of that put aside, Donald Trump single-handedly reversed, not like slow down, reversed a booming economy that was growing by 2-3%, which, in the modern world, in the more developed countries, that's pretty good. That's pretty decent, right? He now made the economy, the latest data shows that the first quarter of 2025, we grew negative 0.3%, which, if you think about it, going from positive to negative, that's huge. Most of it has something to do, by the way, none of these things is something that's organic, something that was going to happen. No, it is 100% because of Donald Trump's miscalculation. He thought that he could bully the whole world and somehow we're going to continue booming. So what his first victim was the stock market. You guys seen this, basically the stock market going down, up and down, based on how he tweets and how he feels, which is not a really good way to govern. The other thing is also the tariffs. The tariffs are causing like a headache to people that are in that industry, right? Pretty much in the industry. I mean, anywhere from manufacturing to toy industry, right? For all. And now what is he saying? He's saying maybe we shouldn't buy more toys, because what's happening is the reports are showing that the West Coast, which is where most Asian products come from, China mainly, are running dry, right? There's something like anywhere from 40 to 50% sometimes of cargo coming through those ports is gone, not coming, or held, which means that's going to translate into trucking. Truckers are already feeling that. Truckers are in a recession. And that's going to also translate into groceries and other retailers like Walmart, like Target, like whatever, right? And once those things hit, which is I predict in the next month or so, maybe sooner, people are going to finally understand, because there's one thing that people understand. Everybody understands what's in their wallet and what's going out and in. And if that changes for the worst, say whatever you want to say about Joe Biden, you can only say that so much, because what did Donald Trump do? He blamed Biden. Even though he started taking credit the minute he won, the minute Donald Trump won the presidency, before he even took office, he was already taking credit for the economy. So now he can't have it both ways. And then on top of that, he's getting blocked by judges left and right. Yesterday, the day before, pretty much every week, right now, he was forced to stop using the wartime's, emergency, basically, clause that he wanted to use to deport Venezuelans to El Salvador. That's another thing Donald Trump is doing, which is kind of crazy, because not only does he want to deport people, he wants to deport people to hand-pick destinations that he knows are going to be harsh, outlaw, crazy, underground torture chambers, basically, like El Salvador, like many other parts of the world that I don't want to mention right now. Now, what should we expect? We should expect that a lot of Donald Trump's supporters will somehow wake up. They have to, because at some point they're going to feel the impact. A lot of them are already farmers, soybean farmers, farmers that produce cattle and pork. China is canceling those things. They're going to Brazil, they're going to Australia for those kind of things. And they are now China is doing a lot of deals, side deals, all kinds of countries, including Canada, which we messed up, Mexico, all over South America, Africa. They're doing great with that. So he's begging now, Donald Trump is begging China to come and make a deal with us. China had no problem with us in the first place. We're the ones who started this. So, keep that same energy. And on top of that, also, China put the stop or pause accepting Boeing jets, which is massive. Each one of them is like hundreds of millions of dollars per plane. Now they are considering going to competitors like Airbus. So if all of those things happen, and even percentage of that happens, it's going to materialize to a massive inflation, stagflation basically, which means stopping growth or slowing down on growth, which we have seen. And if next quarter, 3 months from now, if the GDP also goes down, that is technically a recession. Recession is 2 or more GDP growth in the negative. If that happens, which is most likely going to happen, unfortunately, unless things miraculously turn around, we're going to see even more pain. So now I'll keep eye on all of these things. I'll keep eye on all the things that the judges are blocking, which is great, right? The judges are blocking him, but most likely he's going to start ignoring, testing their power, which they're going to hold a lot of his administration in contempt. And some of them will be headed to jails in the next administration, because none of those will be held accountable in this administration. So I'll keep you posted. This is Ismail Abu Zaid. I am going to be keeping an eye on all of these things that are happening, and I'll be updating you periodically. Peace out.